Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Enes, and today I'll be sharing with you guys what happened when I told my Muslim family about my faith in Jesus. As adults, there's a lot of tough things that happens in life, whether it's losing your job, heartbreak, losing a loved one through death. But one of the hardest things in life is to tell your family, or when your family finds out that you left the religion that not only your family followed, but your ancestors followed. For me, it was very, very tough. Not only I had to lose my loved ones, but I lost my friends, I lost my job. I had a lot of things that I had to let go of to put my faith in Jesus. So a bit of context to my story. My name is Enes. I'm obviously Turkish, you can tell by the name. However, I was born and raised in Melbourne, and I did grow up in a Muslim majority area. From where I am from in Dandenong and Keysborough in Melbourne, Australia, it was very Muslim dominated. Although my family was not the strictest Muslim household in terms of they'll beat me for not reading the Quran properly. No, although I knew family that did that kind of stuff, my family wasn't that type of family. However, practicing was encouraged, and the identity of Islam in my family was definitely very, very strong. And my mum cared about my Muslim education. She sent me to a Muslim school where I learned a lot about the prophets, and I learned about Islam and Muhammad. And I was also sent to a Saturday school where I learned the Quran and learned Arabic and learned how to recite the Quran. So growing up in this type of environment, the idea of being a Christian was never really there. It would never come to my head, never to entertain being a Christian. And whenever I heard the word Christian or Christianity, I would just think of white people just drinking and following their desires. I would think about street preachers just getting a speaker and shouting things and just being very just a big nuisance to society. That was my thought of Christians, and I always took pride, and I was very proud of being born Muslim. But then you grow up, things happen, and after lockdown, I had a lot of time to myself, and things were, a lot of things happened in the world, and I started to have thoughts that, I was born into Islam. I never really chose it. I don't want to drag on the testimony too long. I really want to get to the point of when, my family had to find out. So I made a decision, April 2024, that Christianity is the truth and that Islam was probably not right. But I wouldn't say I had a true conversion, the type of conversion I had 1 year ago when I made my first prayer. And some Christians know what I'm talking about. There's a difference between knowing that, hey, Christianity is true, but then really, really knowing that Christianity is true. You get the fear of the Lord and the love of the Lord instilled in your heart, and you commit everything to Him. So I had that type of conversion in January, just the most recent New Year's. So between April and January of last year, I was still living in the flesh. I was still doing things that wasn't pleasing the Lord. And during this time, I wouldn't practice Islam at all. My family would notice, and but they didn't know that I left Islam. I would pray just to please them, but in my heart I was with Jesus. So then New Year's comes, and I make my first prayer, and I just go through just the most miraculous healing, the deliverance that I really needed. And I actually did not know how much demons I had my whole life that were controlling me, that were making me sin and pulling me towards unrighteousness and sin and lustful passions. So when I put my faith in Jesus and I made my first prayer to Him, He entered my heart. And very quickly, He was just purging all the wickedness, the evil, the lawlessness that was within me. And I started to have a big pull towards righteousness. And very quickly, I was being released from my lustful passions that were with me my whole life. There's no amount of good deeds, good works that could ever conquer the sins I was attached to. It was only the faith in Jesus, only by the grace of God, putting my faith in God and God working within me. But I just had to trust in Him and to ask Him. The problem was I never asked God, but the moment I asked God and I put my trust and faith in Him, He helped me, He delivered me, and He saved me from my sin. So when Christians go through this type of transformation, it's very hard to keep this to yourself. When you encounter God, when you encounter the love of the Lord, you can't help but to share it with others, because love is not something that you keep to yourself. Love is shared with others. You share love with others. That's what love is. And I knew that one day I had to share this with my family, because it's just selfish of me. If I'm feeling this amazing love of God and I'm not going to tell my family, it's like, who am I to do that? But the thing is, it was fear that was getting in the way. The fear of their reaction, of the repercussions, of the persecution. It was getting in the way of me telling them. But what I did do was I shared with my closest friends, and some of my Turkish friends, they were not really that practicing. So I told them, and they had a big shock. They were shocked to hearing that I became a Christian. And I was thinking to myself, if they're shocked, the lukewarm Muslims, imagine what my family is going to think. And that just kept scaring me even more. So this is when my family found out. So a few days after my encounter, I was scrolling on Instagram, and I come across these sheikhs and imams giving dawah and preaching. So what did I decide to do? I decided to DM a few of them. I DM'd two. And these people were from Sydney. So I had no idea that these people would know my family, know my brother. So I messaged this one person about Jesus. So later what happens was, this guy sends screenshots of our Instagram DMs with my face and my name there to my brother. And I get a phone call. Enes, bro, I'm seeing these DMs from your account. Like they're saying that Jesus is God. Like, is this you? Like, what are you hacked? So my brother is in complete disbelief, and he believed that this account was hacked, because never in a million years would he think that I would be a Christian and someone like me would say that Jesus is God, because that's shirk. And shirk is the worst sin. It's an unforgivable sin in Islam. And I'm on the phone just frozen, and I'm just thinking, man, like, I can't believe it's come to this. My family knows. My brother knows. The last person I wanted to know now knows that I am a Christian. So I'm there shitting bricks, and I'm denying it, saying, oh no, it's not me, I'm hacked. And I hang up. I'm just freaked out. So he was on his way back from work, and I'm at home alone, thinking to myself, man, like, what am I gonna do? And I was thinking just a million things, like what I went through and how real my experience was, how real the miraculous healing was, encountering the love of God. And I just thought, like, I just could not deny this. I could not deny the love of God, the fact that I was set free from sin. And Jesus does say in Matthew 10:32-33 that if you deny me before men, I will deny you in front of my Father. But if you proclaim me in front of men, I will proclaim you to my Father. Jesus did not deny us when he was put on trial, when he was in front of the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees, and they asked him, are you the Son of God? Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed? And he answers, I am. And he got spat on, he got beat, stoned, crucified. And Jesus says that if the world hates you, just remember, it hated me first. So then he comes home, I bring him to my room, and he's all confused, and he doesn't know what's going on. And I tell him, like, look, Islam, I've been questioning for a long time, and I've decided that I am a Christian. And he just absolutely starts losing it, starts smashing the table, smashing the ground. His eyes go literally bloodshot, like it felt like there was demons in his eyes, like I could see demons through him. You're a freaking murtad, you were never a Muslim, you never even practiced properly, you never committed your life to Islam, you're a fake, you're a murtad, you're a kafir. Then he tells my mom and my sister. Then my mom calls me, and she's in the car with my sister, and she's like obviously in shock as well, hearing that I left Islam. And she's thinking like, I did this for a girl, or it's because I'm going through an episode or something, like I'm going through mental illness. So she's just in shock. So she's just trying to find any excuse or justification to why I did this. And they all come home, and it's just super awkward, like tension is there. And, they're obviously so upset and so shocked, and they're just trying to find reasons why I did such a thing. And they decided as a family that they will give me 2 weeks. So during these 2 weeks, they were going to bring me all the sheikhs, all the imams, to try and answer all my questions I had with Islam. And, if I did not come back to Islam in those 2 weeks, then I would have to leave the house. I knew in my heart that Jesus was the truth, and there was absolutely nothing that these sheikhs and imams could say to bring me back to Islam. Like, what's in it for me to come back to Islam? Like, I'm telling you my testimony. I'm telling you I got healed. I got saved. I'm no longer addicted. I have no longer I don't cling to sin anymore. Like, there's no reason for me to come back to Islam. And the only reason why I wanted to wait those 2 weeks, because I'm thinking in my head, like, what the hell am I gonna do when I leave? Like, I'm not that rich to get a house or find a rent. Am I gonna live in the car? Like, I'm just thinking, like, what am I gonna do? So during these 2 weeks, I'm just trying to figure out what the hell am I gonna do if I leave this house. Some non-Muslims might think like, oh, but isn't Islam a religion of peace? Like, can't you guys coexist and tolerate each other? I thought Islam and Christianity is very similar. Well, when Muslims actually follow the book, they start to become very hostile towards non-believers. And my brother started to follow this type of Islam since lockdown. So he's thinking and he's saying that, he cannot stay in the same home where someone is worshipping a different God. So the moment when I got kicked out was when I asked my mum that if I can sit down with her and give her all the reasons why I'm a Christian and why I left Islam. I wanted to have like a respectful discussion and tell her, because she wants to know. Like, she wants to know why I did this. Because obviously she thinks I'm not dumb. Like, she knows I'm smart. So yeah, so I sat down with her Sunday morning and I just told her, well, I tried to tell her everything. So I'm there going through like Muhammad's character, what he did, who he married, and the pagan roots of the Kaaba. And I started to tell her the gospel. And like, she wouldn't even let me finish. Because the heart's, before you come to Jesus, your heart is hard. So it's very hard to understand the message of the cross. So she's there like thinking, Enes, like, stop. Like, I want to know, are you a Christian or a Muslim? I'm like, Mum, I'm a Christian. I left Islam. And she just did not have any of it after that. Like, she just knew, like, that's it. You're no longer my son. Then my brother finds out, and this is where like things get really, really heated, because he found out that I'm telling her about Jesus, and he found that so offensive, and so like he got so mad. He's like, why would you tell mom about this and Jesus and Christianity? So out of like that reaction, he gets all my stuff, he packs it in a bag, in a suitcase, and he just throws it out the door. We're arguing, we're yelling at each other, we're screaming, and I'm not going to act like I was being a saint, because I started to get frustrated with Islam, because now, I received the Holy Spirit, and, the Spirit was giving me so much discernment, and I was seeing a lot of things that Islam was doing to my family, causing division, causing hatred, a lot of sadness, a lot of depression. And out of anger, I started lashing out on Islam, and I started talking stuff about Muhammad, and, Muhammad's this and Muhammad's that. Why would he do this? Why would he do that? So that's when we parted ways. And that was the last time I saw my family. And it's been 1 year since that happened. And out of every way it could have ended, it ended very bitter, very sour, very ugly. I'm not going to sit here and say I acted perfectly. I should have done things more out of love, and I shouldn't have lashed out like that. Jesus tells us to love our enemies, to pray for those who persecute us. And, I should have more empathy or sympathy, whatever the correct word is, because I was once in their shoes as well, not knowing a thing about Jesus, not knowing a thing about the cross, because the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those who are being saved, it is God's power. The natural man does not understand the things of the Spirit because they are spiritually discerned. It was definitely very hard to go through all of that, but at the same time, I had so much confidence in the Lord. I had such conviction in the Lord because I encountered Him, I experienced Him. And because the living God, the true living God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob is with me, I did not feel fear about what was to come. And if it meant for me to sleep in the car for a few days, like, so be it. God says that your mother and father will forsake you, but the Lord will never forsake you. The good news was I didn't sleep in my car that night. By the grace of God, I had a good friend of mine who's actually a Muslim, not a practicing Muslim. If he was a practicing Muslim, he wouldn't have let me sleep there at his house. But, he was able to bring me to his home, and I slept at his house that night. So, the Lord made a way for me that night, so I didn't have to sleep in my car. So I did tell him my story, and he was super understanding, and, thank the Lord for His soft heart and His kindness. And what he did was, he really helped me because he suggested me an app called Flatmates. So Flatmates is an app where you can find rooms for cheap and you live with other people. And for me, I don't like living with other people. It was very hard to accept the fact that I have to live like this. Being with strangers, it wasn't the best thing, but I had to humble myself. And God says, whoever humbles himself will be exalted, and whoever tries to exalt themselves will be humbled. What does it profit a man that he gains the whole world, but forfeits his own soul? So I sleep at his house, and the next day, I was able to find a room that was super cheap, didn't require a bond at all, and it was just perfect. I go look at the place. It was just an old man living there, and I had a look at the room. It had a bed for me to sleep on, had a desk for me to read the Bible, and most importantly, a roof over my head. What more do I ask for? What more can I ask for? It was really good for me to stay there because, going from a Muslim household where I had to hide my Bible, I had to hide me reading the Bible, I can just freely be in my room and read and start learning more about Jesus. So when I stayed there, all I did was just read the Bible, learn about Jesus more. And it was my first time reading it. And the more I learned about Jesus, the more I was falling in love with Jesus, the more I had strength, the more courage, the more bravery. So fast forward a year later and we're still not in talking terms, and it still feels like it's fresh. And, I have to be understanding as well that, as a Muslim, when someone leaves their religion, it's a big deal. Like non-Muslims don't understand like how much of a big deal this is. And every single day, I pray for them and I love them and I do want to be reconciled with them. But as Muslims, they can't be friends with apostates. There's so much strict laws on being friends with Christians and being friends with apostates. It's not allowed. So, the religion of Islam is in the way of us being reconciled. And I do pray every single day that their hearts be softened, and if it's whether it's my content that helps them come to Jesus, or God sends them someone that preaches Jesus and the gospel to them so that they will be saved. And especially since I've committed my life to preaching the gospel and exposing the religion of Islam, it's a lot harder for them to be reconciled to me because I'm talking like almost every single day about their religion and exposing Muhammad. So I do pray that at least God sends them someone that's more charitable, more generous, more kind, that they can at least show them the power of the gospel. I did end up moving cities simply because I just wanted a new life, because my encounter was so strong and I felt so confident in the Lord. And if I can start a new life with Jesus, what sort of life can I build glorifying the Lord Jesus Christ? And my old life was just past me very quickly. The Lord was removing all my passions for the world, passions for money, passions for real estate, because that's what I was doing at the time. I really wanted to have a big real estate business, but after knowing Jesus, all of that passion just went away, and now I'm just focused on the Lord. So I moved cities and I've committed my life to this, to preach the gospel, to save Muslims, so Muslims can know the evil cult of Islam and know the love and grace of Jesus Christ. And now I've been so blessed. God has given me such a big platform. I've got over 30,000 followers on TikTok and 50,000 on Instagram, and He's given me such a big platform to share my testimony. So all glory and thanks to the Lord Jesus Christ. The reason why I share this testimony is to encourage those Muslims who are thinking about leaving Islam or doubting Islam to come to Jesus Christ, to embrace the love and grace of the Lord, and to remind you that you're never alone, that God is always with you. He'll never leave you or forsake you. And this video is to encourage you to take that extra step to believing in Jesus, and that nothing really will ever happen to you. If God is with you, no one can be against you. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. If I can do it, a Turk with a strong Muslim identity, with a strong Muslim household, if I can do it, you can as well. I was encouraged by testimonies like this, and I do pray and hope that this will encourage you as well. If you know someone that needs to hear this testimony, please share it to them. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It'll get me into the algorithm. And the more people see this testimony, the more people will be encouraged. The more people will proclaim and glorify the Lord Jesus Christ. If you watched until the end of the video, you are a legend, and I pray that God blesses you and increases you and gives you abundance, power, joy, patience, hope. And I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you.